2010, 545 were drug-induced psychosis, and 75% of all relapse cases blame on cannabis-related. The fact that 43% of the victims are female, according to officials, shows the alarming rate at which women are becoming vulnerable to drugs.
But still, we needed more manpower to meet the demands of the increasing number of patients needing mental health care. With the call for investment, staff training with incentives for better functioning, mental health promotion activities and commitment will make a positive impact on the mentioned disease burden, reducing its incident rates. As this day encourages more investment in prevention and treatment services, investing in mental health will enhance awareness and integration activities that will help reduce the incident and lower the prevalence rates.
For Abulai Sise, Public Relations Officer of the NDEA, increased public awareness is key to understanding the effects of drugs, especially on youths. As the Gambia observed World Mental Day, health caregivers consider concerted efforts involving the public, private sector, NGOs, and the government as paramount to addressing the challenges posed by mental disorders. Louis Mendy, GRTS.
The trial of the former Information Minister Ahmad Skatter Jane and 3 others has hit another snag. State prosecutors were this morning set to proceed with the case, but proceedings had to be adjourned because of the absence of Lamin Camara, counsel for Jane, who also applied for a 4-week deferment because of ill health. While ruling on the application from counsel Camara, the presiding judge, Justice Emmanuel Nkea, told the Special Criminal Court that the counsel's letter to the court for an adjournment did not include a medical document to underline his application. Former Minister Jane was, however, given time to consult with his lawyer, and the case was subsequently adjourned to the 20th of October for hearing. Ahmad Skatter Jane and 3 others are facing 3 counts of conspiracy to commit treason, and sedition. All 4 have denied their charges levied against them. You are reminded that you can also follow the day's stories on our GRTS programs live on our website at www.grts.gm. There you can also monitor GRTS Radio Live. We'll go for our first break. The news continues momentarily.
It is a story of a land where communication has been our song, our drumbeat. This is who we are. We dream of a better future, one that is upon us now. We are close to the heart of the world. We are as old as time. The soul of man began with us. We are Africa.
Welcome back. Syrian government forces have been clashing with army deserters in the country's south. It came after witnesses claimed that at least 3 people were killed during a demonstration against the arrest of a cleric in the town of Hirak. Government forces are increasing their pressure on another hotspot, the central city of Homs. Foreign journalists are banned from the country, but CNN's Our Demon caught up with some people fleeing the troubled town of Homs into the capital of neighboring Lebanon, Beirut, for flee of what exactly is happening there.
Lying in a hospital bed, the young man asks that we call him Khalil. It's not his real name. He claims he defected from the Syrian army in the city of Homs last week. It was exhaustion, too much killing. We were always in the streets, the 22-year-old says, hardly able to finish his sentences. We saw too much random killing. Khalil fled to Lebanon, but just as the border was in sight, he says he was shot by the Syrian military in the arm and shoulder, but managed to escape. Khalil tells us his unit had deployed to Homs in May, and since then, he says, had brutally cracked down on residents. I used to think, why is this happening? What is their crime, he recalls. They were mostly peaceful demonstrators, civilians. Sometimes there would be incoming gunfire. We wouldn't know from where, he says, adding that soldiers manning heavy machine guns would just unleash indiscriminately. In recent weeks, Homs has become the focal point of clashes as an armed opposition emerges, with army defectors forming its backbone, calling themselves the Free Syrian Army. They are able to fight back, Khalil tells us. They are structured and their operations are successful. He claims the Syrian forces are tired, but many too frightened to defect. Reports from inside Syria say that entire neighborhoods in what was once a thriving city are now under siege. Among those targeted early on, Khaldiye, well known for its opposition to the regime. This couple does not want to be named. Their eldest son, just 17 years old, was killed there last month. That day, it was like a hail of gunfire around us, explosions. It was worse than a war, the mother says. He was on his way home from work, slipping through side streets, trying to avoid the gunfire. Last week, the situation got even worse. Security forces blocked off all entrances to the neighborhood and went house to house. They approached the youngest children, says the father, and they say, "Dear child, how are you? What do the people want?" Trying to trick them into saying, the fall of the regime. We warned our kids, they say, but when our child was interrogated, he was too petrified to talk. The mother says the neighbor's little boy and father were taken away for giving the wrong answer. Having already lost one son, the couple fled to Lebanon with their 3 remaining children. Like the soldier Khalil, they just wanted to escape the killing.
Police clashed with protesters as evictions began at Britain's largest travelers camp. The operation to remove hundreds of people living without permission at Daly Farm in Essex started shortly after dawn. At least one mobile home was set alight. A 10-year legal battle between the group known as Travelers to Stay Put and authorities came to an end in the courts on Monday. CNN's correspondent Nima El-Baji was in Essex.
Seeing what feels like the last standoff here. Behind me you can see the scaffolding on which activists and protesters are resisting riot police. There are riot police up there with them, and they have slowly and painstakingly been bringing down activists one by one from up there. Many of those in the traveller community seem resigned that after a decade-long legal battle, this fight is now over. Most of those who remain on this site have withdrawn to the few legal plots here, and riot police are trying, they say, to bring this to an end as safely and as dignified as they can, Manisa.
Nima, put this into context for us. I guess help us understand why this is such a big deal and that, you know, who these travelers are and why they've staked their claim on this part of England.
We're just panning around to show you a little bit more of the rest of the site here, Manisa. You can see some of those legal plots that I was talking about, and actually you'll get a little bit of a sense of how isolated this community is from the rest of the communities surrounding them. This is one of the really huge issues for the travellers here in the United Kingdom. Although the government does offer grants to local councils prepared to provide housing for settlers, there are very few local councils prepared to take those grants. Settlers and travellers say that they feel a lot of discrimination. They feel many local communities don't want any of their villages, any of their communities close by. And when Dale Farm goes, that's one less hospitable place for them here in the United Kingdom, Manisa.
We'll now take our second break. Weather news is next.
Assalamualaikum boko ñëw ci naan ñun waa Gab ñoo fi ñëwaat di prize presentation bi tey nag mooy suñu xool raffle draw bi comme ni nga ko waxee woon rek every Thursday nañ def raffle draw ci West Coast Radio 92.1 ba pare every Saturday nañ def prize presentation bi ci benn signal petrol station bi tey nag ñëw nañ ak suñu xar yi joxe ñaar fukki xar suñu nag xar yaa ngi nii ñoom lañ war a ñëw joxe so ñu def dara rek ñu start up suñu post bi nag